Kim was quiet for a spell. She'd made too many assumptions. The assumptions had led to false starts and wasted time. She didn't know Jack Reacher, and the not knowing frightened her more than anything else.
This is I Don't Even Own a Television. Don't know Jack.
1, 2, 3. There are books that are good, there are books that are bad. There's some books so fucking awful you wish you never had read them at all, 'cause a novel can ruin your life. Hey buddy, I don't even own a television.
Greetings, welcome to I Don't Even Own a Television, a podcast about bad books. I am JW, no clever nickname this time, Friedman.
Whoa, and I'm Chris Collision, and I also don't know Jack. ... Reacher, that is.
Wow, you're just like this book.
You take that back.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. That's harsh.
We're fighting now.
Oh, whoa. Karate moves on display.
Yeah, exactly. Gunplay, fisticuff.
This time around, we're talking about a book that I thought would be fun to read. Silly me. Because we just got done wading through two huge, long tomes that weren't super fun to read. So I was like, let's do another Jack Reacher book. There's a new one.
Yay!
Well, turns out I was wrong about two things. This isn't new. It's from 2011, and it's not a Jack Reacher book. It's called Don't Know Jack by Diane Capri.
Which, by the way, is a name obviously gotten off a bus bench of a realtor somewhere in the Southeast.
Oh, yeah. And I guess what you could say about this book and how it relates to Jack Reacher Prime, the Lee Child series, is that this exists in the Jack Reacher extended universe, perhaps? Or maybe, if you're being less generous, this is officially sanctioned Jack Reacher fanfic.
Right. I think both of those are actually fairly accurate, fairly fair descriptions, but it does come with not just like the blessing of this is related to Lee Child's Jack Reacher on the cover. There's a very lazily written 3-page overture by Mr. Lee Child himself, only 2.5 pages of which are a review of this book he found on the internet. So, he really didn't phone that one in.
So, wow, this may have actually been on a fanfic site then.
I mean, I think the idea was like, we'd kind of like to put this out. It's getting good notes. Can you sign off on it for the second thing to juice up the sales a little bit? Maybe the second edition. But yeah, so he is, or his assistant anyway, is aware of this and not averse to it. So there's some real, how to put this, James Pattersonian cash-in levels going on here.
Oh, yeah, there is for sure. I mean, I think, even before we describe the book, I just wanted to read Lee Child's quote, his blurb from the cover, because I think it says it all, really. Let me jump back to the cover, because for some reason it didn't want to show me that. Full of thrills and tension, but smart and human, too. Lee Child, #1 world best-selling author of Jack Reacher thrillers.
Damn. Like, he could be reviewing anything up to and including a particularly good can of Amy's chili.
Yeah. I just also like that the one blurb on the cover is the guy who wrote the book that's cashing in on this. It's subtle, but I like it, too.
Yeah, I to anticipate probably what I'll say about every 6 seconds on the 6-second mark throughout this episode, like, I'm not mad at any of it. It would be a little bit like getting mad at tapioca, like, oh, I just made a big pot of rice and I'm furious. But yeah, it's just...
These unseasoned beans are making me angry.
Okay, that actually used to happen at a restaurant by me. I really wanted to introduce them to some of the spices of my own heritage when cooking. Some black beans to put on the side, spices such as salt
and pepper.
Yeah, perhaps a bay leaf if you want to go completely bonkers.
Whoa! All right, I don't like ethnic food. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, so this is the first book in something called the Hunt for Jack Reacher series, which I did a little bit of reading about.
Oh, no. Why?
Because I'm wild and unpredictable. And it turns out these actually are meant to be companion books for individual Jack Reacher novels. There's one of these for each novel in the Jack Reacher series up to a point.
Good God.
And they're supposed to be happening in tandem with the events from that book. So in a way, our heroes, Kim Otto and Gasper, whatever his name is.
I think it's Carlos Gasper.
Carlos Gasper, are kind of doing a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to the Jack Reacher canon here.
Right. That said, I think that play you're mentioning is quite brilliant. It is also like a commentary on one of the central works by one of the central figures in what we laughingly refer to as Western civilization.
Oh, yeah, Francis Bacon, right?
Yeah, exactly. And as Christopher Marlowe.
Yeah.
And I'm not 1,000% convinced I really like the SAT style as Diane Capri is to Lee Child, so Tom Stoppard is to William Shakespeare. Don't know if I'm 100% in agreement with your police work there, Jay.
Well, I tried.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was going to save this for a low point, but I figured we should get out of the way now, just in case anybody at home is gearing up to read some of the third-party adventures of Jack Reacher.
Yeah. In case there's not quite enough Jack Reacher out there for you.
Folks, you should know, Jack Reacher does not appear in this novel.
I hate to disagree with you, Jay.
Whoa, did I miss something?
You kinda did. I'm going to read you an exciting thing from Jay. You don't know Jack.
Hey, I've played all those games.
Were you good at them? I never
Ooh,
was.
I wonder if they put this out in like a box set along with the Jack Reacher novels and call it the Jackbox Party Pack. All right, I'll see myself out.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and explain that one to the fans?
See, those are games, and for those of you who have been locked inside your house for a couple years, like most of us, you can play them on the internet with friends and do things like, play the drawing game and make every single image revolve around the phrase "cranking your hog." Not that I did that or anything. So.
What? Never. Okay, so in the last chapter of this book, our two main heroes, Carlos Gasper and Kim Otto, are having a little debrief at like kind of a hotel coffee shop. Doesn't matter where. I can't remember, and I don't care.
A coffee shop. We'll have to get back to that later.
Oh boy, will we! And oh boy, will we! And someone brings them some unmarked, untraceable burner cell phone telephones. And meanwhile, they're just sort of sitting there and trying to figure out what's next. The junior agent approached their table. He said, "Otto, Gaspar." When they acknowledged, he handed each a small padded envelope. Unmarked, but recognizable. Those last three words, by the way, were one paragraph.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Gaspar ripped his open. A cell phone. He shrugged. He slipped the phone into his pocket. Kim looked up at Cooper's office window. Was he standing behind the reflective glass? Right then? Watching? She saw the messenger boy head back toward the building. And she saw a man, too, motionless in a shadowed doorway. He was looking straight at her. He was tall, easily 6'5".
Oh, yeah. You're right.
And broad, easily 250. A giant, really. He wore jeans and a leather jacket. Work boots on his feet. He had fair hair and a tan face and big hands.
Oh, yeah, the hands. That I do know Jack enough to know that that's Jack Reacher.
Sunglasses hid his eyes. He looked infinitely patient, just standing there, self-possessed, self-confident, simultaneously alert and relaxed, both friendly and dangerous. So, I mean, so far what we've gotten here is Jack Reacher is a land of contrasts.
Yeah, oh man, is he ever?
She turned to Gaspar to point the guy out. When she looked back, he was gone.
So I was wrong. Jack Reacher appears like a shadow.
Well, so that's the last page of the book. Technically, it doesn't say it's Jack Reacher. So I think by the laws of canon, you're safe in saying maybe Jack Reacher isn't in this book. But some fair-haired 6'5", 250-pound patient guy in work boots,
With large hands.
With large hands, a real Tom Cruise type does appear in this book, and so I think that counts.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I will admit that by the 100% mark on this book, I may have just bailed out as soon as the number flipped over and not realized there was another page. I was like, woo, 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 I'm out of here. Yeah. So that's entirely possible, because I don't remember that part at all.
I can see you just like flipping the book into the air while you like Dukes of Hazzard slide across the hood of your car.
It was a real spring break moment. They freeze framed and Simply Red started playing. Just got out of detention with Bender and Molly Ringwald.
That sounds fucking great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It sounds better than pretty much any moment in this book. It sounds like both of us are a little shaky on the details. Should I even try a off the dome, although people aren't saying off the dome anymore, so I'm going to go one step grosser. Should I try raw dogging a plot in 60?
No. Well, actually, yeah, you should. So here's a song.
You got 60 seconds, scream in the shout. You got 60 seconds, don't leave nothing out. You got 60 seconds, open your mouth and tell them what the goddamn book's about.
Raw dogging, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I am.
You could have at least said jackrabbit, man.
I don't know what that means.
It's the same thing.
Oh.
All right, are you ready?
I mean, I'm completely unprepared and going to be doing this straight off the top of my head. So, yes?
No chaser.
Yeah.
All right, get ready.
Yeah.
Go.
All right. Kim Otto is a young, ambitious FBI agent, and I'm just going to go ahead and mention once what the book mentions 4,000 times, which is that she is precisely 5 feet tall and, quote, on her fat days, fuck you book, 100 pounds. She gets a midnight phone call from a shadowy and through the bulk of the book unnamed higher up at the FBI who needs her to go on a mission that's, what do they call it? Off the book. So she's got to go do an investigation, but on the QT and very hush-hush. She is assigned a partner who she doesn't know, whose name is Carlos Gaspar, as we've mentioned. And his background and character is twofold. One, he's from Miami. And two, he has been shot a bunch and his body is wrecked because of it, but he hasn't lost his job and he doesn't tell anybody that he's in, say, constant fucking pain.
Well, you're over, but keep going. You forgot to mention, though, I had to say you were over so I could jump in and not,
let's do it.
He has 4 kids.
Oh, that's right. He's
and 20
kids.
Years to go before he retires,
right.
Which you will also read about 100 fucking times.
Yeah. Would you describe him, Jay, as too young for this shit?
Absolutely.
He also, unlike her, he's a man who likes his coffee, but he's a little like the Beastie Boys in that he likes his sugar with coffee and cream.
He does.
He likes about 4 sugars in his coffee, and it's basically a record scratch moment every time he gets a coffee because nobody can handle it.
I'll take that with Cool Whip. Anyway, back to the plot.
So anyway, it will surprise perhaps no one to know that the careful mission that they must go upon is to investigate what I believe to be the events of the first Jack Reacher book,
Killing Floor,
which I also believe we have done on this show.
Probably.
And despite technically thus having run through the events of this plot 2 times. I have no fucking idea what the plot of this book honestly is. So
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. I read it too.
they go to Margrave, Georgia. Kim and Carlos do, and they meet up with a foxy single mom, I think, sheriff, who has some kind of possible history with Jack Reacher.
I'm pretty sure she's in the Jack Reacher book, and I just don't remember.
Well, I mean, it's strongly implied that they hooked up, and that he is in fact the father of her wayward teen daughter,
whose name is Jacqueline, and they call her Jack.
So, I mean, again, it's not text, but the subtext is reasonably easy to parse. So the contents of Killing Floor are basically, there's a world historically large counterfeiting ring operating somewhere in suburban Georgia, somewhere in suburban Atlanta. And Jack Reacher gets roped into it, but his brother is also involved, and his brother is in a little too deep. So the bad guys kill Jack Reacher's brother, and y'all know what happens then. Jack Reacher must unleash hellish vengeance upon all of them. So the FBI agents, you're not going to believe this, listeners, they think Jack Reacher might be a bad guy? Oh, record scratch? And that's pretty much the whole book. So they're running through what I guess is supposed to be basically the plot, trying to reconstruct the plot of the first Jack Reacher book. But mostly they think Jack Reacher's a bad guy. One of the other local cops from that first book has become a high mucky-muck advisor to the president. And there's a lot of back and forth about, is this smooth operator the bad guy, or is the mysterious voice who gives the 2 FBI agents their instructions over unmarked cell phone telephones, is he the bad guy? And I think it turns out he was the bad guy in the end.
They kind of both are.
Oh no. Shades of gray.
This thing, in case you didn't realize it, is just a confusing mess.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the people at home. You obviously realize it because you read it.
Because I'm confused. And
yeah, and I'm really confused too. And I mean, it's like things happen.
Yeah.
It's very hard to keep track of those things. More things keep happening. There's not really any I mean, it's ostensibly a mystery or a thriller.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I mean, the comp that came to my mind was, it's a little bit like a sub-average episode of Law and Order or something, where there's a procedural happening, but it's not that well done, and it doesn't really matter. What's supposed to matter is that you're just kind of bumbling around in a comfortable world, the Jack Reacher verse.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to kind of like these characters that you're hanging out with, Kim and Carlos mostly. But
does it succeed?
That's a great question, Jay. Does it?
No.
Oh.
I didn't like either of them.
I mean, I wasn't, again,
I didn't hate them.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at it, but it went down smooth, but that's the best thing you can say about it, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't put this in my low notes because I don't want to harp on it because it never becomes offensive. But when you have 2 characters, one is Vietnamese, the other is Cuban, and the only way you can express that the 2 of them are feeling camaraderie is through just nonstop gentle ribbing about each other's ancestry, that gets a little fucking old.
Well, let's use that to segue naturally into high points and low points, because I have some other stuff to say about that.
All right, high points, low points. Here's another song.
High points are high, and low points are low. High points, low points, get ready to go.
So, high points and low points. You know it. You heard it. We're going to do it. Would you like to go first with a high point? And I will say, this isn't a book, once again, not mad at it.
Yeah.
Very hard to find high points because, as you mentioned earlier, this book is beige. It's exceedingly bland. So, while it was moderately pleasant to read, nothing really jumped out at me, and I have a feeling the same is going to be the case for you.
Yeah, I mean, you might say if you're, trying to grasp something to like about this book, that you'll have to be your own Reacher. Pause for laughter.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. So my first high point is airports. This is a book that is super duper an airport novel, but it's also by somebody who has obviously spent a lot of time thinking about airports, thinking about how much airports suck, thinking how much officious TSA jerks and flight attendants, how much they suck. And they've also thought a lot about how much it would just absolutely rule to have a magical badge that would cause those people to stop being a pain in the ass. There's at least 3 scenes of this dynamic, including one where Kim has to literally hurl her suitcase ahead of her off the jetway onto the airplane and then leap from the jetway to the airplane, which is taxiing somehow with the door open and it's separated from the tunnel, but she still does it and she still makes the airport. Take that, stupid officious TSA dink.
And it should be mentioned, this is one of maybe 2 action scenes in the book.
That's a good point.
Involves boarding an airplane. Yeah. So the stakes are high, folks.
Yeah, exactly. So, I really, I don't know. That I am very much the dad from the Onion article who casually suggests getting to the airport 14 hours early. So having that magical badge really kind of appealed to me.
So my initial high point, which you may have realized from my groaning when you started yours, was that this book has really good advice about air travel, which it does. It makes sure to point out that if you sit in seat 1A, the flight attendants will put your bag in the overhead bin for you. But I had to come up with a quick one on the fly, so I'm just going to also say this book really likes breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Much like the original Jack Reacher novels, now that I think about it. And as a bit of a breakfaster myself.
I was going to say, much like the 2 guys having this conversation right now.
I did enjoy the fact, especially Carlos, several times when they're in Georgia, keeps asking if they can take a pause to have some eggs and country ham. And, that's my order. So I'm down with that. I also like to drink some coffee, marginally less cream and sugar. But, eat some eggs and ham and some pancakes. I'm a happy guy. So I did appreciate this book's love for breakfast.
Yeah. And there's a lot to love. So let me do a low point. And this is, something you were already talking about, the banter. So, yeah, there's 2 really big problems with the banter. One is, and I kind of already played this card a little bit, but this relationship is TV procedural level friendship, not words on the page level friendship. Yeah. And that's just not that fun to read.
They're buddy cops. They're not buddies.
Yeah. Exactly. And then the other big problem with the banter is the way that TV grade relationship takes its form and is conveyed to the reader is with a lot of 2 people at work making a lot of jokes about race and nationality at one another. Now, this does not fit with my personal experience.
No, I would leave my job. If someone was like, hey, Jay, that's what Jews always do, isn't it? Yeah. I might be like, let's see who's recruiting today.
Peace out, motherfucker. And the other problem with it is it sounds like this. So I just did a quick search for the word Cuban. Then we'd better hurry. We Cubans are not that chivalrous, he said, as fat raindrops started to fall. So what? I'm still Cuban and proud of it. Sure, I get that. That's my point. I'm still German. Too bad for you. Germans are a lot more stubborn than Vietnamese. Don't you worry, Cubans are not as harmless as we look. And then, in case, you're like, oh, this all sounds really, really good. At one point, I think she calls him Cheech. And she says, I keep telling you, Cheech is a Mexican, not Cuban. God, you Germans are dumb. And, I did not throw my electronic reader, but there were audible sighs in the hotel room at that point.
There's also something that really bothers me about that line in particular that I think speaks to kind of, I guess, what is going to be my next low point anyway.
Yeah.
And that a lot of the events in this book don't happen on the page, and that includes characterization. Because these two become friends within like 50 pages, but you never find out why or how. They never necessarily seem close to each other at all.
Right.
And then they keep referencing conversations that never happened. Like, it's worth pointing out that when he says, I keep telling you Cheech is Mexican.
Yeah.
At this point, the book has pretty much made you to believe you're experiencing their thoughts and actions constantly, except for when they go to bed in different hotel rooms. But those conversations never happen. There's not like, Cheech is not a runner in this book. That's literally the first time it comes up.
That's a really good point. You're exactly right. Like, so much of this book doesn't get presented to us. Like, the exciting parts in general don't.
Yeah. So anyway, to kind of loop that into what I guess the overarching point of my first low point here is that this is just not written well.
What?
Like, there's a lot of that. The actual prose is incredibly clunky. And the author does something that this may be the first time I've ever encountered it in the book, but there are a lot of thoughts that end in completely different places than they start. Almost like she wrote half of the sentence and then took like a break for a couple days and came back and finished it without reading what she had wrote before. And there's things like this. She grimaced at herself in the mirror and splashed cold water on her face. She felt like she'd tossed back a dozen tequila shots last night, and she was glad that she hadn't. What the fuck? Like, that is the weirdest sentence to put in a book. I can't even pin, like, why that is so weird, but it absolutely is. It's like, it's a metaphor, or it's structured like a metaphor, but it isn't.
Yeah, that's me covering my ass with my boss. Like, hey, buddy, you look a little rough this morning. Yeah, I know. I didn't sleep much last night. I feel hungover. Good thing I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Or this one, she had been burned before when confidential reports were acquired by unintended recipients who lived to tell about it. No, that's not the same ending as the beginning. It's like someone did a word jumble with full sentence fragments.
Now, what I get from that is if you fuck up and accidentally forward an email to the wrong person, or add somebody to the reply all stack that you shouldn't have, kill them.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
one more.
That's bizarre.
This doesn't necessarily fit into the structure I was describing, but it does tell you a lot about this writer's power over the written word and ability to evoke images that, you know, make you go, what the fuck? Like, 20 minutes from Atlanta, the plane started to bounce around like a steer on cocaine.
Oh, no.
Something we're all very familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, bad.
They don't even make straws big enough to go up a steer's nose.
No. Yeah, what are you going to grab a big thing like butcher paper and like roll it? No, come on. Come on.
Well, then you'd be making a cheech, I believe it. Oh. I'm horrible.
All right, that's it, everybody. Have a great one.
All right, so that was my first low point. There's plenty more examples, but don't worry, you're going to hear a lot of them.
I mean, we've been jumping around like steers on cocaine, so let's get back on track. I owe you another low point. I'm going to read you a little bit of a low point. She explained the logic. Matching numbers is what computers do best. If Sylvia and Harry didn't list easy numbers the same way on every return and match stuff already in the system, the computers would have spit everything else out. See? All right. Matching numbers is what computers do best. If I might go a little Instagram for a second, tell me you've never thought, I know, I'll use regular expressions, without telling me you've never thought, I know, I'll use regular expressions. Or for that matter, never tried to find a specific phone number on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Matching computers, my friends, is not what computers do best. Mostly what computers do best is tell you, I can't match these numbers because you're asking wrong.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I also like the implication that you could just pull one over the IRS if you write your numbers differently.
Yeah. No, you've got to list it. You've got to write them the same.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, false positives.
Yeah. So anyway, I realize now we didn't do a good job setting up the plot because we forgot to mention Sylvia, the trailer full of counterfeit cash.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well,
Washington, D.C. and its existence in general.
We'll loop back to that in a second. I've got another low point here, too, which is I mean, this will fill out the plot a little more. This is something else we didn't really talk about, but the reason they're looking for Jack Reacher, these FBI agents, not because he committed some heinous crime and they've been sent undercover, not because of exciting intrigue, or, well, it turns out later, yes, because of inciting intrigue, but...
Again, does that exciting intrigue appear on the page? No.
No, it doesn't. But the inciting event for them is that they're sent to find out information about Jack Reacher because he's up for a job, and they are the FBI Human Relations Department.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Human Resources, sorry. And their mission, if they chose to accept it, which they did, is to find out whether or not Jack Reacher would be a good fit for the position.
Although...
that is fucking boring.
Yeah, and like even the kind of quasi-big reveal toward the end that maybe that was just kind of a cover story that they were given because they're operating on a don't need to know basis. Even that reveal, that's not a great reveal. Like what that reveal is, you know how you thought you were doing something kind of boring and low stakes this whole time? Actually, it was important. And like, okay, but I've still been watching a guy update a spreadsheet for like 250 pages. So who cares?
This is like literally like somebody checking a job applicant's references, like in excruciating detail, to the point like where one of the characters asks Kim what they're doing or what they're responsible for, and her response is, "We conduct candidate background investigations. It's our job to build the file, supplement sketchy records, get a clear picture so the folks upstairs can make informed decisions."
Wow.
Edge of your seat shit right there.
Wow. Yeah, I can't even whistle. I'm so like, you know, at the edge of my own seat just hearing that. Yeah, that sucks. Speaking of sucks, let's go to something that the author really thinks sucks, which is a high point that, like, this is the closest I came to laughing out loud while reading this thing. And that is, you know, in the same way that the author has spent a lot of time thinking about airports, the author also has some very strong opinions about rental cars.
Oh, yeah.
Which led to this moment that I actually think I did laugh out loud at when I first read it. They drove onward into the heartland. The Traverse was an underpowered piece of shit, and the tires were all wrong for concrete. Gaspar wished Otto had asked for a sedan. He would have. Take that, Chevy Traverse. Fuck you.
Avis Rent-A-Cars, as savaged in the Diane Capri novel, Don't Know Jack.
Yeah. So, like, you know, a lot of these kind of formulaic series books have almost like placeholders. Like John D. McDonald, in his Travis McGee novels, always had like the spot for the political rant, the spot for the ecological rant, the spot for the technological rant, and they're never longer than about a page and a half, but they're always like real highlights. If Diane Capri can promise me just an act of unmitigated rage about a shitty car rental experience per book, I think I might actually plow through a lot of this series.
I'm just realizing, like, big opinions about rental cars, airports. The heroes are glorified human resources employees.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think I know what Diane Capri's day job was, and it might involve recruiting people for tech companies.
This book might well be You Don't Know Jack, but you would if you were on LinkedIn.
Yeah. It's like LinkedIn the thriller.
Yeah. Hi,
Jack.
I'm just reaching out to talk to you about an opportunity.
Jack changed his availability to interesting. Wow. My high point, and this is okay, you got to roll with me here because this is it's a specific occurrence, but I really like the part where Kim downloads some really, really confidential files and decides to hide them using the same method I did when I was a 13-year-old boy hiding porn on my computer.
Oh, this is so good. Yes.
She downloads the files and then moves them into a folder on her desktop entitled Miscellaneous Non-Work.
And in case that wasn't clear, that was me dusting off my hands because that job is done.
Let me read it here. The computer found a secure satellite, and she downloaded the encrypted file.
Beep boop.
She moved it to a folder misleadingly labeled non-work miscellaneous and closed the laptop. Got him.
God, like Kim Otto, you are an absolute credit to the FBI OPSEC training division.
Yeah, that's literally something they send out form letters telling you not to do when you work in a big company. They're like, don't respond with personal information in emails and don't put encrypted files in non-work miscellaneous. Totally not porn is the name of the folder.
Book 3. She needed to log into her laptop. She popped off the battery compartment and looked at the password written on a Post-it note inside the battery door.
Password 123. All good passwords contain letters and numbers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before I say too much, let's move on.
Yeah, so I guess we do need to fill out the plot a little bit more, even though we don't actually. Just suffice to say there's a counterfeiting scheme going on, which is the same counterfeiting scheme in the Jack Reacher novel.
There's some dirty cops in Margrave.
Yeah, there's a situation that might be meth. It might be quote-unquote hardcore porn stored in the non-work miscellaneous file. But, turns out to just be the counterfeiting ring. Previously established. One of the women involved in it is also a high-priced DC call girl.
Who has, I believe, been transferred into a kind of an off-the-books, off-the-grid life as record scratch. I keep saying record scratch. I'm sorry.
You're like a broken record, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. She's like the administrative assistant in this suburban cop shop.
Yeah.
For, once again, reasons. Also, the shadowy, let's just call him who he is, Charlie figure, who keeps calling people on the phone and telling them what to do, is, for reasons that are never satisfactorily explained to me, about 5 minutes ahead of all the plot events in the book.
Yeah, like literally a car will blow up and because this happens.
Yeah.
And then her burner phone rings and the guy's like, "Are you both okay?"
Yeah. Like,
just get down here and do it yourself, asshole.
He keeps saying things like, you have to be at the sheriff's office at precisely 11:30 because important information will come in.
And yeah, it should be mentioned too, this guy ends up being pretty much the villain and the mastermind behind this whole situation. He does not appear in the book as anything but a voice on the phone. It's the most let down of a solution to a thriller ever.
And at the end of the book, they are still working for him because he's the one who sent them the phones right before they saw Jack Reacher? Question mark?
Yeah.
So it is a little too Charlie's Angels for this reader.
It also, this is one of the first books we've read that literally, it ends with a cliffhanger. But not only does it end with a cliffhanger, it ends with an ad for the next book on the same page as the last sentence of the narrative. They don't even wait until a blank page to be like, join them for more adventures. It's literally like, the end. Stick around for more adventures in this series.
Hey, man, have you priced electrons lately? Like, those line breaks, those page breaks? Supply chain's got them all fucked up.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I appreciate the thrift, the economy of exposition, if you will.
You know who else would? Jack Reacher.
That's right. This is the book that takes its plot off at the end of the night and puts it between the mattress and box springs.
I forgot about that. That is the best Jack Reacher moment. For people who are unfamiliar with the stylings of Lee Child, this is what Jack Reacher does to avoid paying for laundry. My hero.
By the way, he's doing this with what's fairly explicitly described as Wrangler or even Rustler grade blue jeans.
Yep. Nowadays he'd be wearing Kirkland's finest.
Yeah. Now those are the kinds of jeans that you really want to have a nice sharp mattress imposed crease on them. Am I right?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to do greatest hits here, but it is fair to mention that Jack Reacher is basically Granddad Detective.
Yeah.
I was thinking a lot about it, and Jack Reacher is kind of like, what if Hank Hill was a special agent?
It's like what Hank Hill sees in the mirror.
Yeah.
6'5" of ass-kicking ropey muscle.
I got big hands and a narrow urethra.
God.
Hey, do you want to take a break?
Do I want to take a break on urethra? Yeah, I kind of do.
Get your own ethra, man.
All right, we'll be back.
All right, welcome back. Just going to read this because this echoed my experience as well. No way, Kim typed into her notes. Can't happen. Me too, Kim. Me too. What? I also typed no way, can't happen into my notes. That was funnier in my head. Everyone, welcome back. Now it's time for the part of the show where we play some games.
Woo!
With the world's worst detective / human resources department. And, I think that this is the most efficient. Trying to think of some Silicon Valley buzzwords here.
Oh, it's scalable for sure.
This is definitely the most scalable podcast segment of all time. It's Dramatic Reading.
Dramatic readings. We're gonna make it sound recorded. Dramatic readings. Yeah, I got some words for you.
All right, so in Dramatic Readings, we're going to take pieces of this book and read them to you in the fashion of high drama. So, would you like me to go first, or would you?
Depends. Is yours going to be high drama? Because I think you know what mine is going to be.
No, mine's just dumb voices.
Oh, great. Well, then why don't you go first?
Okay, sounds good. So, as we mentioned before, part of this plot revolves around the fact that our suspect, not Jack Reacher, the other suspect who comes into play later, God, just talking about this book is confusing, is also a very high-class call girl, a working girl, as it's referred to. And in one scene, when our heroes are staying in a hotel, a woman thinks that Sylvia, the character I was just talking about, is staying in the hotel as well. It's never really described why, now that I think about it. But she knocks at the door, and it turns out this is one of Sylvia's co-workers. And when they answer the door, she's described as wearing all pink, just like Jacqueline Onassis, down to the pillbox hat.
Which is definitely how your escorts dress in Washington, D.C. Because if you show up, like the whole point of an escort is you are escorted a place, I believe. If you show up with somebody in Jackie O drag,
First Lady cosplay
in Washington, D.C., I think you might actually lose some career opportunities going forward.
Wow, this guy's weird.
Yeah, like...
But anyway, so if you're like me, which is to say a nerd, you read that description, you don't think of Jacqueline Onassis, you think of the Venture Brothers character known as Dr. Girlfriend, who is notable for her unique voice. Mm-hmm. And as a result, I've decided for my dramatic reading, I'm going to do that scene with the Dr. Girlfriend voice. So here we go. Kim ushered Elle out to the corridor and closed the door firmly behind them. Gaspar could deal with the boss. In the elevator, Elle said, "You don't look like a working girl." She scanned Kim's black suit and her work shoes. "Are you going as a cop? Is that what they want? You could be real FBI in that costume. Do you know Sylvia's FBI boyfriend? Was that him in the bathroom? Oh my God, I didn't interrupt, did I? You were done, right? All the cops ever want is oral anyway." Kim covered the jolt with what she hoped was just the right amount of salaciousness. Her FBI boyfriend? Elle's unfazed babbling continued, as if now she and Kim had a great deal in common. "I only met him once. Tall, built, gorgeous eyes. High-level job over there in the Hoover building. He's the one who kept Sylvia out of jail when we got jammed up a few years back. Set her up out of town someplace. She just couldn't say enough about him. Sounded like a boyfriend to me." Elle saw Kim's sickened expression and patted her hand. "But I maybe read it wrong. I'm sure they're just friends, honey. You don't need to worry. Sylvia's got her head on straight. She keeps her mind on the money. No silly romance for working girls like me and Sylvia. We don't want that. Gets in the way, you know." The elevator opened in the lobby. Elle waved to her friend at the front desk. They entered the bar, where Elle knew the bartender, too. "Jimmy, send us over 2 gin martinis, will you, honey? Blue cheese olives, Just a little dirty like me. Thanks, honey, but weak, okay? She slid into the first booth, giggled, delivered another body slam to Kim's gut. Don't want to get drunk before we get there. Marion Wallace throws the best parties in D.C. Booze flows like water, and the food to die for, honey. Just you wait. Elle laughed as if free-flowing alcohol at a Marion Wallace party was the height of luxurious joy. Marion Wallace? How could this be happening?
Yeah, because much like your standard procedural, we've got to drop some hints that Kim Otto was once married. And there was a kind of confrontation involving Marion Wallace that's related to her no longer being married. Over under on what book in the series, like we actually get closure on that shit, I would put it probably book 4. I would take the under at 4.
Yeah. It sounds about right. It's definitely, it's alluded to, but that's as much as you're going to get in Don't Know Jack.
Yeah, because boy, is it important too. And boy, I don't know about you, but I like took an entire page in my notebook and was like, Marion Wallace, big question mark.
It's a real Kaiser Soze moment.
Yeah.
So I want to take this opportunity to give a tip to authors of the hacky variety. A body slam is not a punch, goddammit. If she delivered a body slam to Kim in the middle of a restaurant, they would be kicked out.
Well, it depends on the restaurant.
That's true. If it was a Hooters, you'd be okay.
How did you know I was literally thinking about Hooters?
When am I not?
Is it my goddamn T-shirt?
Ooh, delightfully tacky, yet unrefined.
Oh. People right now are like taking their cell phones and just like frisbeeing them out into the streets.
Oh, so we're classy dudes. Doc and Jackson, I heard you're making a Gentrified Brothers, a Venture Brothers movie. If either of you wants a break from the doctor-girlfriend routine, I'm pretty good at it. Give me a call.
Yeah.
Give me a call, honey.
I, of course, am available to do Billy Quizboy, but I really don't think that old Doc wants to get X'd out of 2 of his biggest voices.
Ooh, I was hoping for a little banter, actually.
I think Little Banter is actually one of the new villains on the show. So I'm gonna dramatically read something that is strangely similar to what you did, and that's our Sylvia va-va-va-voom
Awooga
trying to use her own feminine wiles to, instead of femsplain the plot as Elle was doing, try to get out of a little bit of a pickle she's found herself in. Side note: blue cheese olives and gin.
I mean, I like a dirty martini, or I did. I don't drink anymore, but when I did, I liked a dirty martini. But usually it was vodka.
Yeah.
If you order a dirty martini, they would know that, I assume. I don't know, man. Though blue cheese olives just sound nasty either way.
I mean, I don't mind blue cheese. I like olives quite a bit. I might like have a little blue cheese, have an olive, then have a martini.
Yeah.
But like just sloshing them all around in like a little like slop bucket does not sound very appealing to me.
To be fair, in my drinking days, the one cocktail I think I actually enjoyed was dirty martinis, and I'd routinely ask them for more olive brine than vodka. So I can kind of get it, but I still, blue cheese doesn't fit in that equation.
That explains why you used to be so salty. Pause for rapturous applause.
It also explains my 18 kidney stones.
Yeah. Well, hey, you thought you were going to live forever? Come on. All right, so let's check in on Sylvia. Hale looked straight at Sylvia. That's so, he said. You're going to admit everything? Sylvia batted her eyelashes and raised her right hand and said, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. And you're all very, very lucky that I'm not confident enough in my Lady Gaga in House of Gucci impression, because I heard every line of her dialogue in the Father Swan House of Gucci voice. But I'm going to spare you that. Hale flushed pink from his stiff white collar, right up to his sandy hairline. His eyes narrowed, either in incomprehension or calculation, like in your favorite screen grab of Fry from Futurama. Kim couldn't tell. His tone was hard enough to cut diamonds. He said, "In exchange for what?" "Dangerous people will be looking for me. You and Mr. Cooper can fix that, can't you?" That's Mr. Cooper from Hanging with Mr. Cooper fame, of course.
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm like, are they going to hang afterwards or what?
Sylvia's tone was so sweet, it made Kim's teeth ache. Hale's face turned redder. "You agreed we wouldn't need to help you again. Yet here you are, and it's not a minor prostitution charge this time, is it?" Sylvia's breathless little voice begged. "I'm innocent, Mickey. You know I didn't kill anybody. Helping me again shouldn't be a problem for Charlie, should it?" "Mickey? Charlie?" Hale looked like he'd swallowed a turd.
Sorry. It's so out of place. I can't help it.
Yeah. Kim had to hand it to her.
What, the turd?
Men had followed women like Sylvia right off a cliff since the dawn of sex. And I just gotta stop there, like, dawn of sex.
Awesome record.
Yeah. Oh yeah, was that the Golden Bongs that put that on?
I think maybe Sleep. It's funny that you went for the House of Gucci in your thoughts. For me, it was Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. Like, you could put Mr. J at the end of there. Any of those lines, and it would work perfectly.
Or Jessica Rabbit. Honestly,
yeah, that's true. Oh, hey, well, speaking of Jessica Rabbit, it's time to play another game. This one is called What Would They Do?
Sometimes attention's so hard to divine, and others the clear as day. So tell me, what would they do?
All right.
If you're trying to say that you harbor an attraction for Jessica Rabbit, first off, you're not alone.
I was like, I'm a red-blooded American man.
Second off, we don't have to say that into the microphone.
Okay. No, actually, the point is this. There is a scene in this book where the following happens. Let me find it here. Oh, this is actually the scene that I was previously alluding to, where Elle comes and knocks on the door of the hotel room, which she thinks is occupied by her friend Sylvia.
Yeah.
Sylvia. And the chapter starts as follows. The knock sounded like a rhythm, like a prearranged code, like Morse. Dum-diddy-dum-dum, dum-dum. Which, okay, now the Jessica Rabbit thing makes sense in a non-horny way.
Right, yeah.
That is a plot point in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Excellent movie. Not a great book that I know has been kicked around several times, mostly by me.
Right.
We may talk about it one day. But yeah, in the movie that plays a role. And it got me to thinking, if you were, say, Elle, and you and your friend Sylvia had a knock code.
Ooh.
What tune would you use? What instantly recognizable tune would you use just from the rhythm? Or just the rhythm of as your secret knock?
Wow, that's tough. So I did once while away a particularly boring door shift at a bar I was working at by transcribing into mouth sounds on my, T9 telephone. The breakdown in Rush's Tom Sawyer. I did it once, and I texted it to my buddy. No, the dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah, exactly. So both.
Oh no, let's just do this for 45 minutes.
I was going to say both our remaining listeners are so happy with us right now. So yeah, maybe I would just stand outside the door doing mouth sound versions of great prog rock hits of the 70s.
Well, I was kind of on the same thing. I was going to say "We Will Rock You" by Queen, because it would be great just to stand outside of someone's door going knock, 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 in a steady, unaltering rhythm for as long as it takes until they answer the door.
Oh, I don't know why, but my anxiety levels just spiked. And just thinking about that. If somebody did that to a hotel room, I would go straight out the window.
Yeah, that's like the start of a horror movie.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, every single one of these books corresponds with a mainline, a Jack Reacher Prime novel. They also have a naming convention. So what would they do? I'm going to do the thing that I do sometimes, and you're not in the shoes of a character of this book anymore. You're now Diane Capri.
And so as Diane Capri, I'm on the airplane.
Yeah, you're on the airplane.
Because I fly a lot. And I'm in comfy clothes because I know how to fly.
You might be wearing culottes, hence the name. And you're brainstorming a name for your next Jack Reacher book. Now, let me hit you with the ones that exist already. Sorry, your next Jack Reacher adjacent book. Here's what already exists.
Right.
Don't Know Jack.
Gotcha.
Jack in a Box.
Oh, fuck me.
Jack and Kill. What? Oh,
Jack and
Kill. I didn't even get that. I was thinking of like the activity Jack and Kill, and then I was like, whoa, this is really gross.
It's unexpectedly kinky.
It's dark. Get Back Jack. Jack in the Green, Jack and Joe, Deep Cover Jack. We're running out of ideas here.
Yeah.
These are just starting to sound like burgers from Jack in the Box now.
Yeah, and not like your first tier either.
You go through the drive-thru and order a Deep Cover Jack, see what you get.
Yeah, this is like, in the panel after the egg rolls and monster tacos.
It's like below the jalapeno poppers. Deep Cover Jack is actually a Jack in the Box burger that's wrapped up in a Big Mac container.
Ooh, I'd go to that. I'd get that.
Jack the Reaper. Blackjack. Questionable. And 10-2 Jack, which, I don't know.
10-2 Jack? What?
10-2. TWO. 10-2 Jack. I don't even know what the pun is here.
Is that trucker code?
Maybe. I don't know. I really feel like by the time we got to Deep Cover Jack, we had pretty much... I don't know. The well was pretty dry. But say you wanted to go back to the well again.
Yeah.
What would your next... pursuing Jack Reacher novel be called?
I think that, assuming that there's one... either about, hardcore pornography, as this one kind of head fakes at, or perhaps at least just a Jack Reacher book set on a nudist colony. I think, it would be a natural to have Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
I like it. I like it a lot. Wow, I just got that pun. Like, I literally just got that pun that I've been reading for 40 some odd years now. Thank you for making that clear to me. Folks at home, you've just experienced an epiphany. You've witnessed it happen. I had no idea.
If there's something in the smuggling business, something that's popular to grow and smuggle is marijuana. So a jackpot suggests itself.
Or maybe he's just working at a head shop. Or, a dispensary. Now, the world has changed.
Yeah, now that there's a truly sad head shop down the street from me.
Oh, you don't say. A sad head shop.
Yeah, well, because it's 2 blocks away from an actual dispensary. They don't sell weed. They just sell, like, weed-adjacent tchotchkes.
And, whipped cream canisters. And
I don't know what you mean.
And something called kratom. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, and a lot of what Bart Simpson once whimsically referred to as pencil holders.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me see. Are there any others? They already. I can't believe they led with Jack in the Box. That's pretty. That's pretty brutal.
For me.
Yeah.
I think, we're already very close to fan fiction territory. And one of the hallmarks of fan fiction, or bad fan fiction at least, is the self-insert, right? Where the author puts themselves. So in this case...
Look, if you want to talk about how I thought it would be very important for Scully and Mulder to have a new redheaded friend in the early to mid-90s, we're going to, again, have to turn these microphones the fuck off.
No, I loved the Lone Rangers. No, I'm going to say our author, Miss Capri, might decide to write Jack and Diane.
Ooh, a little ditty, if you will.
They might be sucking down chili dogs outside of the Tasty Freeze.
And I think we can count on Jack to do his best, James Dean.
Yeah. I mean, yes, and yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that was pretty much it. I was going to say something about Black Train Jack, everybody's favorite melodic hardcore band from the mid-90s.
Okay.
But there's already Black Jack, which is very close to that, so never mind.
Right.
I'm just going to stick with Jack and Diane.
There's also Jack Black, but that's somewhat different.
Yeah. How about Jack Johnson? The boxer or the mellow guitar dude?
Or the, still clinging to an NHL job defenseman.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Quick, drop a wrestling reference.
What was his name? Jack Swagger.
Ah, there you go.
Ooh, that could be
There
one
you
where
go.
Jack Reacher becomes a SoundCloud rapper.
Oh, that would be pretty good. I would love to
Jack
hear
the Snake Roberts.
Jack the Snake Roberts.
Sorry.
Wasn't there like a Black Jack? It was like a
Black Jack
cowboy?
Mulligan. Yeah. He was Bradshaw's dad's partner, I want to say. What were they? Because when JBL Bradshaw, the new Blackjacks, was his first team, and I can't remember who he was partnered with, but they had big mustaches, and they were both the kids of famous old timey wrestlers. So yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. God, I
Cactus Jack.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
I'm feeling really dumb now that none of these occurred to me earlier, but yeah. Ooh, imagine the book that could be written. Jack Reacher and Mick Foley collaboration.
I've got even one better that will come after that. I mean, I'm sure that will be the most popular. But what if Jack Reacher went all the way to London, England, merry old England, and met Cracker? And then your book would be Cracker Jack.
Cracker Jack.
Yeah. Actually,
wait,
is there a
Cracker
Cracker?
was David Lowery. He's American.
Oh, that's true.
They're from Virginia, I think.
No, I thought there was a mystery series called Cracker, but now
there is.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, but I know his face.
I think
People
I'm thinking
will
of
write in to tell us.
Coltrane or
Robbie Coltrane?
Robbie Coltrane.
I think that might be him. But yeah, Cracker is a British mystery series that shows up on Acorn.
Okay.
And I tried to watch it once, just did not enjoy it, despite my penchant for such pieces of entertainment. It felt very dated. If I'm going to watch an old mystery show at this point, I think I'm going to watch, maybe some Ian McShane as Lovejoy.
Whoa.
He wears a Motorhead shirt sometimes. It's good stuff.
It's
good stuff in a 4:3 aspect ratio.
Yeah, and probably that great BBC level of budgeting where you're okay, well, I can tell that's a real building, but I can tell they also have 5 minutes to finish the scene before the security guard tells them to fuck off.
It has early Midsummer Murders level production value, which I'm here for, so it's cool. All right, well, let's put a bow on this. Jack Reacher adjacent, his name is mentioned several times. It's a book. We talked about it. We're done. Let's take another break.
Woo! We did it.
We'll be back.
We survived.
Jack.
Oh.
All right, welcome back. We just had a long, rollicking Venture Brothers discussion.
Off air. Suckers!
Welcome to 2015.
Oh, that's entirely accurate.
Adult Swim, still pretty cool. Well, that
has made a new show in living memory.
Yeah. Dana Snyder on everything. All right. But now comes a part of the show where we stop talking about things we don't like this book, and start talking about things we do. We're going to do some recommendations. Here's a ditty.
Not only venom and spite, sometimes with sweetness and light, and we always end the episode by telling you about a thing we like. Recommendations.
Oof, that was a little ditty about sucking down some chili dogs in front of the Tasty Freeze. And now we're going to recommend things we actually liked. Collision, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I would love to. I'm going to unfortunately have to degrade myself slightly and recommend a book that I have not finished yet because bad brain, bad decisions. But it is a good book that I think you will like if you are the kind of person who will like this book. It is called My Dark Vanessa. Sorry. It is called My Dark Vanessa. And it is an interesting take on a young woman who's a student, embarks in a romantic entanglement with an older man who is her teacher. Lolita is many times name-checked and commented upon in an interesting way. It is a difficult book. I think the plot summary I've just outlined indicates that it is not a book for capital E everyone. But I am really enjoying it. I'm finding it challenging and thought-provoking in a lot of both brain and empathy kind of ways. So, that's where I'm at.
All right, well, I am going to aim considerably lower, and I am going to recommend the collection. There may be more than one, but the comic strip Nancy, as written by Olivia James, who is the most recent and current writer of Nancy and artist. I know there's one just called Nancy, a comic collection. The original Nancy, the Bushmiller strip, I feel like gets a lot of undeserved flack. I think it's actually very funny. There's a really great book called How to Read Nancy, which I guess is a tertiary recommendation that's more about the craft of comics than the strip Nancy itself. But I think that really gets into how groundbreaking it was in a lot of ways. It was really one of the first comic strips to, be meta, to tear down the fourth wall. There's a lot of really good stuff out there. But Olivia James took over Nancy, much to the consternation of old-fashioned comic strip people.
J.O. motion.
Yeah, exactly. Who, took to the websites and the newspapers with a letter writing campaign about you can't have this millennial writing Nancy because, she put phones in the strips. She made a lot of jokes about the internet and other things that would piss off, self-righteous dickheads who hate change.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you probably by now seen the Sluggo is Lit image. That's part of kind of a long-running tradition in the Nancy world that predates her, which is that Labor Day, the artist, quote-unquote, takes a day off. So you just see ideas for strips that are going to happen, but they never do. Whoa. And her first entry in that the Sluggo is Lit came from was a series of 3 panels designed to piss off everybody who said that she was doing a shitty job. So one of them is like an endless phone, and then inside the screen of the phone, screenshot is a phone, there's another phone, and inside that screen is another phone, and it just says phones, phones, phones. And then there's Sluggo is Lit and stuff like that.
Kids be looking at their phones, am I right?
Yeah. But yeah, she's really great. She has a really, really sharp, wicked sense of humor, and I haven't bought a book of Sunday or, newspaper comics since I was maybe 12 years old. This is the first one I have, and I think that says a lot. It's really, really funny. There's some great gags, and I like it. That's pretty much where I've been at. I haven't mentioned it yet, but I have 2 new kittens. It's kind of hard for me to drill down and read anything for extended periods of time. So, a Nancy compilation, why not? It's perfect.
Sounds perfect. Yeah.
I'm reading like 25 words at a time, looking at some cute pictures, getting distracted by cats who have decided to knock something off a counter or a shelf again.
And if you've got a problem with that, you can go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Awesome. That is that's about the widest range of recommendations we've had in a minute.
Yeah.
Serious question, would you recommend kittens?
Yeah. They're a lot of work. I haven't talked about it a lot on air because I don't want to make a big deal about it, but I am no longer drinking or engaging in any sort of chemical behavior. It's been quite a few months now. Hasn't been easy, but, luckily I have a great support system and all that kind of stuff. But all of this is to say I could not have handled 2 new kittens, I think, until recently because I have so much free time now.
Yeah.
And so I have time to play with kittens and make sure they aren't breaking everything. So that's good.
All right. Highly recommended. Small furry friends.
Yes, exactly. And, they make every day joyous and fun. And when you're working from home like I am, it's great to have little idiots running around behaving like maniacs all the time. So
I think one thing that I have grown to appreciate a little bit is the amount of chaos that is not added to your life if you're just sort of like working from home, don't have, any insane critters around. So that kind of chaos, I think, helps keep the brain flexible, keeps the soul limber.
it does, like now, I used to have crazy shit happen on the bus. Now a cat gets its head stuck in a bag of chips, and that's, just as good for me.
That's like 2 hours right there for me. Like,
knocks me right out of my routine.
Hell yeah. Especially when it happens on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we read some letters?
Yes, let's do it. Here's another ditty.
A, letter B, letter C, letter D, letter E, letter F, letter G, letter, got a lot of letters.
Ooh, I like that ditty.
This one is from Steve, fake last name, and it is entitled A Fan Email. It's perfect.
Succinct.
Yeah. Hi, Chris and Jay. I'm a big fan of the podcast, which I found when it still seemed like everyone loved Ready Player One.
Glad those days are over.
Yeah. I know that you guys like to know how people listen to the podcast. I listen while riding my bicycle, which I obviously think of as the crab, at least on rides when I have a new episode to listen to. The episodes are the perfect length for my rides. Good God, this guy...
You're riding your bike a lot.
This guy's a machine.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think sometimes people wonder why I'm laughing while they ride by me. Annoyingly, no one has ever seen me laughing and stopped to ask me for excellent podcast recommendations, but I'm sure it will happen any day now. So yeah, I think our podcast policy is if you see somebody laughing on a bicycle, assume they're listening to us, but trust, but verify.
Yeah.
Don't harass them. Just find out.
It'll happen eventually, though. The other day, I was walking from the corner store where I got a sandwich, and some random dude walking by recognized my Carp T-shirt.
Whoa!
And he was like, "Nice shirt." And I was like, "You know Carp?" And he's like, "Yeah, they're great, dudes." It's been like 30 years that I've been hoping someone will recognize my Carp T-shirt. So,
nice.
Yeah, not 30, maybe more like 25, close to 30.
That's still fucking amazing. A slightly serious question. Do you guys think that your exposure to incredible amounts of bad writing has helped you to better appreciate good writing?
I'd like to say yes, but I still enjoy crap.
Yeah.
I think in some ways it's definitely made it clearer what it is that makes what I consider bad writing to be what I consider bad writing.
Right.
There are definitely like trends and patterns, and I feel like most of the books that I enjoy ignore it. But I feel like if this were really making me better at reading or better at appreciating great literature, I probably wouldn't be recommending Nancy compilations. So do with that as you may. I still love cozy mysteries and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, I think the important thing really is, at least for me, I always kind of try to have a sense of humor about everything that we talk about here, so I don't really consider myself like a critic in any way, shape, or form. We're just having fun, know, so I guess the answer is no, I'm sorry.
I think it depends on what you mean by like writing. I don't think it's done much for my ability to appreciate prose, because a little bit like you, Jay, I think my favorite prose is definitely one-word paragraphs, and a lot of sentence fragments. I don't know why. It just always puts a smile on my face. But I think it maybe has helped me get a little bit better about appreciating well-structured writing.
That's a good point. Yeah. I think appreciation is the key.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate good writing much more than I did now, solely because I've experienced the flip side of it so much.
And so much, especially because so much of it, when you've imbibed, I think, of as much of it as we have, I think I've gotten to a place where I can see where most of it comes from, and most of it, the stuff that really drives us nuts, I would venture to guess, is just laziness.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from lack of skill. It doesn't come from, lack of inspiration or idea. It comes from a lack of sitting down, reading the fucking thing a second time.
I think that's very fair.
With a semi-critical eye and fixing the problems that you see as the writer. So when people are visibly doing that, it warms the old tiny black heart of mine.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think appreciation is the key word there. Like, I don't feel like I'm better at identifying good writing, but I definitely appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah, it's like really lets you off the hook.
Yeah, I mean, anybody could have made an awful book, but they chose to put some work into it, and I appreciate that. So.
Yeah, I took hands clasped. I thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about all I've got.
I did just want to say, since we were already talking about this subject, one thing is, like, I've been having tinnitus a lot lately, and even before that I've always watched TV with subtitles on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shows that I like. No big surprise, mysteries from England or associated, European countries. Associated? I don't even know what I'm saying. But a big thing in a lot of these shows, especially the darker ones, is songs with words, which I'm not really used to encountering that much in my usual watching. And since we were talking about appreciation, one thing that I've noticed is when you have to read the lyrics to a lot of pop music along with the songs, it fucking ruins it. Because you realize how many people just aren't trying, and that drives me absolutely crazy. Yeah. And once again, makes me appreciate the people who really do put effort into their words. Kate Bush, I have a newfound respect for, because all of her lyrics are like actual poetry, and it's not just words that rhyme.
Right.
And I've always been a fan, but lately I've been like, this is really good. Amy Mann, another great example. I'm like, she's putting thought into those words. They're not just words that go with the music. Whereas, I turn on like some show and the theme song is like, I don't know, like the words to it are like, you make me sad. And now I'm going to go before I feel bad, or something like that. And it's like, come on.
Wait, your memory is failing you. It's you make me sad, and now I'm off to be Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah. I love that theme song.
Yeah. It was real. The question for me was always, can they hear it in that universe?
Yeah. I mean, so I guess my point is if you're a songwriter,
suck less.
Yeah, suck less, A, and B, realize that your song may one day be optioned to be the theme music for a BBC or an ITV property, at which point everyone will be reading your lyrics as well as hearing them. You can't get away with not publishing the lyric sheet anymore.
Oh, that's a good point.
You never know when it's going to end up on TV. We all know sync licenses, it's the backbone of the independent music's paycheck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just be careful. Anyway, that was a tangent. Sorry.
No worries, guy. Can I ask a slightly pointed follow-up to the tangent?
Yeah.
Okay. How many records have you yourself put out?
Many.
And when?
And the lyrics are bad. Yes.
And when did you decide that you gave a shit about lyrics?
Yeah, I don't know.
The answer to that question is actually long ago. You just didn't put the two together in your head till now.
You know what? I mean, to be 100% honest, I would not want anyone to read the lyrics to anything I've ever put out, which is why I never put them in a song. And it's only, or never...
Did you never make the lyrics available?
I mean, I did when I was in rock bands and stuff, but not for hip-hop stuff. It's one of my favorite things about hip-hop, honestly, is like, you never see a lyric sheet because it would look stupid.
You got to figure it out for yourself. That's actually what I think about most bands, because I could not agree with you more. Like, the lyric sheet is such an act of hubris. And I say that as somebody who read mostly lyric sheets from, say, age 14 to... today.
I could do you one up on that, and that's like the early to mid 90s hardcore and emo trend of not only having a lyric sheet, but every song has like a 4 or 5 paragraph description of what the song is about and what inspired the song. It's like, who the fuck do you nerds think you are?
Well, they think that they're sensitive white boys who need their feelings paid attention to.
The sensitive white boys have logged on.
And as I've said before, I stand with the pretentious teens, Jay, not against.
I had friends who were in a band who will remain nameless because I don't know. I think one of them, actually, who I still am in communication with, might be listening. So if it's you, I'm sorry. But they were like a roll on the ground and scream emo band, where they had really pretty guitar riffs and then they get loud and their singer would drop on the ground and start crying while he was screaming. But they would photocopy little booklets and hand them out at their shows that had the explanations and the lyrics to the songs, and expect people to like read them and be like, oh shit, this is that song about how this girl he like dumped it. Oh wait, that's all the song. Oh,
the problem is you're being very delicate about how you knew that person. but you're telling the story to someone who aspired to be that person, but could not quite scrape those lofty heights. So, once again, unknown possible listener, I got your back, man. I got your back.
I thought it was cool at the time, too. I was like, how could I talk my band into doing this? They were like, Jay, you're a nerd. We're not doing that. So, yeah. All right, we're way off on a tangent here. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back. I mean, as you may have noticed, we're on a slightly relaxed schedule. I've been actually enjoying doing a show a month. I think it's good. Maybe
right.
We'll reevaluate. But at the very least, you could expect a new episode within the next few weeks or so when another month rolls around. But we do appreciate you sticking around and listening and knowing Jack.
Yeah, exactly. It means a ton. People will still hit us up, and it just warms my heart a lot to know that it's possible we're still bringing a little bit of sunshine into some otherwise less bright days than they could and should be.
It is, and things are looking weird and bad again. So hopefully we can help you out a little bit with bad jokes and weird digressions about emo bands who print their lyrics and bring them to shows.
It truly is a weird time. Like, if I sound a little weird, like, I have been sick. No, it's not the Rona. Yes, I got the test. But it's just such a bizarre dynamic to be like, yes, I'm sick as shit, but it's not COVID.
Yeah,
it's
weird.
It's weird times for everybody. So thanks for sticking with us. And, even if occasionally we run to the store in the middle of the night for a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
We're coming back.
We are.
It's fine.
And, maybe one day I'll feel safe thinking about doing a live show again because I'd like to do that. But,
I want to do it in, like, behind the weird enclosures that people with even worse tinnitus than us have to play behind.
Ooh, yeah. Or like the big hamster wheels like Peter Gabriel had on that one tour. Or the hamster ball, the plastic one.
Oh, yeah. And I think Flaming Lips did it, too. But I also want all of the audiences in their own, like, little matrix pods.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, well, let's spitball on this off air. But, thanks again for listening. We'll be back shortly with another book that sucks.
How does this keep happening, Jay?
God damn it. It's almost like we need to change this idea.
Yeah.
Until next time. Oh, God. I'm going to say it.
Do it.
Jack the Crab.
Yes. With consent.